Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to a new episode of Cutting the Many. Today we're going to be doing Ana again. You're probably thinking, oh, surely you tell people, don't send in gameplay footage if you've done it recently, of a hero that you've done, relatively recently. We did Ana not that long ago, like, relatively recently. So why are you doing Ana again? Well, the reason why is this. It's very rare, like most of the games I get sent are usually around, if we draw a graph, because I like graphs, I've gone on record before saying graphs, this is the Overwatch skill rating curve, and it looks like this. And around here is 2.5k, okay? A lot of games I get sent are around 2.5k, okay? It's the median, it's the middle of the curve, most of the time I get sent around here, and I imagine like around, when you get to about here, this is like 3k, and this I think is about 2k, and then you get further and further out. And I'm more likely to see, actually, I see a number of games sort of more out to these reaches as you push further and further outward. I don't get to see many games this low. I'll occasionally get sent like 1.9, 1.5 every now and then, like silver games, but very rarely do I get sent bronze, and very rarely do I get sent, yeah, just anything this low. And so, why have I picked this? I've picked this because it shows a different sort of, it's like I occasionally get asked, oh, I'm X, I'm in silver, I'm in bronze, how do I climb out? And so I want to really make this all about how do you climb out of an elo like this? How do you climb out of an elo this low? This will also contain a lot of Ana tips of just very fundamental, basic Ana stuff, and a lot of very fundamental, I'd say, basic Overwatch stuff as well. I want to make it absolutely clear, because I did a Lucio a long time ago at about 500 SR, which is incredibly low. Is that graph a penis? No. If your penis looks like that graph, you've got issues. Delirious. See a doctor and a plastic surgeon as soon as possible. And hope that you have a very long tongue. Anyway, aside from Delirious' medical issues, and I got a couple of comments on that were kind of correct in the, the tone of it was a little bit wrong, especially early on. It was just sort of getting past the pure, I don't know, shock of seeing a very different Overwatch, and finding some humor in it. And it wasn't meant to be derogatory, it wasn't meant to be insulting, it was more meant to be, let's try and find some humor in this. But I want to make it absolutely clear that this is a person that has sent in gameplay footage that knows that it's going to be maybe put in front of public people. Maybe they know that it's going to be put in front of people, and this is still a person they want to improve, and that to me is like the core fundamental. And I said this in the very first episode of Coaching the Many where I had Ryan, where if Ryan fucks up, we'll say he fucks up. But the key thing is he wants to improve, and so it's a brave move, and it's important to do, and it's it's a good step by this person to say, please give me some advice, I want to climb. And yeah, we can go with that. Myopic Serials, I just subbed. Welcome on board. You don't get a thingy on the screen though, apparently, just yet. I think sound does come in. Should be sound playing. Did have sound. It's very quiet. There we go. Okay. Okay, so first and foremost, with duo queuing, I actually quite like that. When you're playing at this rank, I would not hesitate to duo queue, triple queue with like-minded people. If you have a couple of friends that you play with regularly, absolutely do that. Absolutely duo, triple. Just to try and make sure that you have people that you can reliably play with and you can actually make plays with. Standard rules go out the frickin' window, and where the bitrate is a little bit low on the VOD, but don't worry too much about it, it's not too big an issue. Standard rules for how the meta defenses work go out the frickin' window here. I imagine until you start getting into maybe high silver, gold, you probably won't see the standard defenses. Maybe ups the sound. I'm pretty sure the sound is actually a little bit louder than this. I can barely hear it. Ugh. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I need to turn it up a little bit more. Okay, it's not too bad. Anyway. But yeah, don't expect standard defense, because standard defense on Numbani is the enemy team holds right next to the point. Standard defense here, they could be frickin' anywhere. How come you're studying it mid-video? Because this is a completely different game. So we're focusing on the Ana game, because that's the one they sent in. That's the one they wanted reviewing. But you can already see, like, there's a Genji poking out there. The big thing that I noticed instantly is that this Reinhardt is charged out the gates. And if you think about what we need to be supporting here, like, what makes us good as Ana, right? I've covered this before, but I'll cover it again very quickly. We're very good at keeping people alive who are very distant, like this Reinhardt. I'm going to have to use the pen a lot, and you're going to have to trust me a lot when I mention things because the bitrate is a little bit low. I think this is from a stream, unfortunately, so it does get muddy. But the Reinhardt's charging into the distance, right? He's gone off. He's gone crazy. He's having fun over here. We want to be trying to get to a position where we can look after that. And if you think about it in terms of like, okay, we've seen the Genji's been like shurikening. He's not that scary. If they all are out here, then absolutely we want to stay in the spawn and we want to hide. But because it's just a Genji, we're actually not that unsafe into pushing forward. Because if the Genji wants to do anything, he has to come into the McCree, he has to come into the Winston, and so our team can hopefully get rid of that for us. Also, just killing Ana as Genji is already a little bit of an effort. If we can get to somewhere where we can support this Reinhardt, and we just don't have to get that far. We just have to sort of get to about here, where we could just start putting a heal dart or two on this Reinhardt. That would be absolutely aces. Because you can already see he's extremely low. Mercy manages to sort of do our job for us and sprint out, but we definitely want to be getting the healing onto the Reinhardt. Okay, they've got a Junkrat spamming, so we want to get out of this spam as quickly as possible. We sort of check this way, but we want to be using this barrier to either get through here as fast as we can, just so we're not going to get hit by any of the Junkrat spam, or we want to be going up here. It depends on where our team wants to go. But we don't want to be standing in the spam for too long. Fine with that grenade, just keeps the McCree alive. This I'm less keen on, and I understand the urge to do it. This would have been, I'd say, fine pre-patch, where, you know, the shot or two on the Junkrat would have been enough. But right now, you got teammates pushing in, and you got 3 people pushing in. And again, this is bronze, so they're going to be just doing their own thing more than doing a coordinated push. These 3 people are unsupported. Both supports right now, we're both just focusing on healing this single McCree. And that's not a good use of our resources. Then we sort of stop and we take a shot or two at this Junkrat. And unfortunately, you don't quite get him. Which feels bad, man, but it happens. But we want to be in a position where we can honestly, and McCree dies anyway, somehow. Feels bad, man. But we want to be in a position where we can just get out there and we can start supporting our teammates. Because you notice, if we were here and just keeping these 2 tanks alive, that Reinhardt probably doesn't die here. This Reaper, a lot safer. This Winston, a lot safer. We could heal these guys pretty strong just by following them through this underpass. And so never overlook and never fall into the trap as Ana, which is think that you are vital DPS, because with the nerf especially, you really aren't. You really aren't. You could take a shot or two, and I would absolutely be pre-healing this. By the way, this is suicide by the Reaper, but you can maybe make it work, and this is sort of another thing you can do to try and get out of bronze, is people will make silly moves like this. Okay? Everyone in chat, what is going to happen? This Junkrat can see this teleport happen. It's right in front of him. What is Junkrat going to do? He's going to fucking shoot him. He's going to probably put a trap down. He's going to shoot the shit out of him. He appears. He can't shoot just yet because there's like a delay where you are physical as Reaper, but you come out of the shadow step and you can be shot. And Junkrat is going to start putting grenades into him. But if we just start nailing with heal darts, we heal him for 80 a shot, that Reaper could probably survive. That Reaper could probably survive the Junkrat's damage. He will probably last. And if we throw a grenade up here as well, oh my god. Then suddenly, the Junkrat's taking damage, the Reaper's getting boosted healing, the Reaper Wraith form's probably in a panic, which is what I expect will happen. Maybe he'll just get knocked back down. Yeah, there we go, he gets knocked back down and Wraith form's off. But we could have just, you know, we see this bad play. This, you know, this isn't a good idea because the Junkrat can see, and everyone up here, if they're looking this way, could probably also see it. But we can actually make this work, and this is sort of why Ana is not a bad pick in bronze. And it's weird because if you start getting good with the mechanics and the aiming, you can really make a huge difference and stuff like this, where you see something silly like this happen, but the enemy team's going to be reacting just as badly to it. And so we can facilitate this working by pre-healing, because we can predict that the Junkrat's going to shoot him. We know the Junkrat's going to shoot him, so if we're healing him, the Junkrat takes forever to kill him, and therefore the Reaper can then go aggressive onto that Junkrat and start doing things up here. Maybe gets a kill on the Junkrat, and then starts doing stuff elsewhere. Otherwise, we're just pushing in. Again, we want to stay sort of behind the Reinhardt and just stay behind our team. We're sort of running a little bit too far forward, and this is a problem I see Anas do constantly, where it's like, why are we here, like, this far forward? This is always sort of the big question. And if we want to heal Reinhardt, we can heal Reinhardt. If someone comes up here, like the Winston might do, we can't heal them because Reinhardt's in the way. Someone has to run all the way in front of us to get healing. If we want to actually heal people who might need it, like if the McCree follows us in, if the Reaper is behind us and needs healing, if the Mercy needs healing, we have to turn around 180 degrees, have the entire enemy team behind us, and that's bad. We don't want that to happen. So just not getting overeager and just sort of running forward. So be wary of the trap. Vincent stands in it, we can pre-heal him. We should absolutely be pumping healing into him. Like, High Noon is going off, which is a little bit scary, but Like, there's no reason not to just be throwing heals into this guy. And just keeping him healed. And even though he might be on, like, close to max health, after the first hit on him, he will be on max health. Don't stop healing him, because he's immobilized. He can't move, so people are going to shoot at him. You might be thinking, well, surely we can go and maybe help this Reinhardt, but because Deadeye's going on, we can't go and help that, and that was very quiet. Is there a volume mixer? Let me go to my face. Let me try and bring up the sound a little bit, because I really struggle hearing it, and that means that you guys are really going to struggle hearing it probably as well. Sound mixer. Open volume mixer. Chrome, where are you? Turn that up. That's a bit louder. Turn that up even more. That'll do. That'll work. There we go, let's get back to the video. I mean, this entire engage is kind of so-so. It's not too bad, honestly, in terms of, like, bronze play. The ideal, to me, in, like, lower ranks, until you start getting to gold, is just try and get a group together and try and push as a unit. Winston jumps in if we cover him, and then the Reinhardt moves forward. Reinhardt charges because I think he's worried about his barrier going down. Honestly, the perfect move here, and just to like frame what is the ideal situation here, you throw a grenade over here. So that where the Reinhardt's going to end up, you put a grenade over there so that if people are still near him, like the Junkrat might still be near him, and if you need to heal him, you can heal him for more. So he's going to end that charge with full hit points, maybe someone purple next to him, and with getting extra healing. That's the ideal situation to happen here. Then it's the setup for even to make more happen. I'm fine with us making the choice to hide from the Deadeye, but in which case we want to be hiding, we want to still be active. Like, we have time here where we're reloading. We should be shooting now. There's a fight happening, why aren't we just shooting, putting out healing on targets that are likely to take damage and targets that might actually be taking damage. Pre-healing is definitely a thing that we should be doing. It's a good sleep dart. It's a little bit reactive, but honestly it works out, and we get a really nice grenade. Like, the sleep dart here was actually quite nice. This is actually one that I would probably fire, which is you see that people are moving back and forth over here. Like, people are duking back and forth here, so you fire a sleep dart right into the middle of that and you get someone. And suddenly that person is out of the fight for a couple of seconds. Res has gone off, people are clumped up on the Winston, we get a grenade, we get that kill there. And it feels good, man. And now we want to be thinking about nano boosting, but the fact that we're not healing right now, like this movement here, we reload, this to me will be the perfect time to scope in. Why do we want to scope in? Because this Winston is quite low and needs our support. He needs instantaneous healing. So if we scope in and just put healing as much as we can onto this Winston, and these guys are all purple, this Winston is then doing stuff. If we can get another 200 hit points on him, he's actually a really good nano boost target for us. But instead we're sort of panicking. And we're trying to heal him, but because we don't have a scope up, it's a little bit trickier. And we can't do it quite as quickly. There's no reason why we couldn't just scope in back here. We're quite safe, especially once that bubble's down, we are completely safe. McCree wants healing up here. McCree, he's our teammate, he's our friend, but he's completely on his own. You notice to come out and heal him, we have to run pretty much all the way around that corner, so that McCree's on his own. You can't get healed, he has to either drop down or run all the way around. Don't mind the speculative sleep dart, I'm fine with us sticking this close to the Reinhardt, although I'd rather we just didn't follow him out this far. Like, we could just be just as effective, perhaps, if we just stayed here. We have good oversight on the point. We can heal all the people that perhaps we need to heal. It's going to be this guy and this guy. This guy back here is going to be a bit of a problem to heal, but we can still do it. And we can get a nano boost when we anticipate it. When we start running out of here, now we're sort of exposed to danger. Now we're a little bit scared. We end up nano boosting the Reaper. It's honestly not too bad, but unfortunately the Ice Shadow comes through. He gets on him. See, we're pre-healing. We're pre-healing the Reaper, so it sort of shows that we know how to do that at the very least. Genji Dragon Blades on us, grenade at our feet. Good job. Like, we basically, again, we did a good thing there, because that meant that Winston just comes back and punches him once or twice. McCree landed his flashbang as well, and we get the kill. Like, that's actually good reaction, the correct reaction to something like that happening. If he gets baited into you, then, if he's going to go for you, then punish him by just putting the grenade on him as soon as you can. I like the sleep attempt on this as well. I felt that, actually, this was a nice prediction. We saw the Lucio bounce, 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 and we aimed the sleep dart here. Unfortunately, actually comes in a little bit too close. The sleep dart looks okay. Slightly aggressive, but honestly, we don't need to save it for anything right now, really. I like the grenade on the Lucio for finish as well. It's just the best way to finish Lucios. Then we get launched up by a Junkrat bomb, so we do want to be a little bit careful about what's approaching. And let's just tuck in behind the payload, be a little bit safe. Try and maybe Like, I'd try and get back here and then scope in just to make sure that we're getting a quick heal on this Mercy. And I think I'll show afterwards, like, quick scoping as well on Ana, because it does work. Don't try and sleep dart and ulting Zenyatta, it doesn't work, unfortunately. But now they just pile into an Shatter, easy kills. The one thing that we could be doing during this moment, because we know that, so it's just the Zenyatta on the point, right? The rest of their team is going to be coming in this way. If we position a little bit more over this way, or if we go a little bit more this way, I'd say that this way is the safer way. We know that their team's going to be trying to run into the Transcendence. If they run into the Transcendence, they're very hard to kill, but we can beat that. We have the tool to beat that with an arrow that narrowly misses what I was even aiming at pointing at and doesn't even point at the right icon. It's this thing. Coming off cooldown in 1 second. So we can be using this time to just reposition over here. They come in, and then when they come in, we can anti-heal them. The Transcendence isn't doing anything. It's contesting for a couple of seconds, but we can kill whatever's following in, instead of having 2 or 3 people on the point that we need to struggle with, rather than just backing away from a Zenyatta that isn't scary in the slightest, because he's doing his thing. And I kind of want to use this moment to sort of say, like, we'll start seeing sort of the error of the enemy team now, as our team is in a nice big juicy clump, and the enemy team's just sort of trickling one by one, and the Lucio's sure he stalled it here, but honestly, he hasn't done anything meaningful there. There's no chance that they're really going to get that back. They should have just let that go a while ago. Let's pick up the McCree. Feels bad, man. Don't... Like, when I see stuff like this, don't be afraid to just scope in quickly. Because there's no danger from over here. Like, the only place where an enemy could be threatening is over here. Maybe if they're feeling bold, they can come behind us. We haven't heard any or seen any sign that they're going to be doing that, but they've recently just been killed. So they're probably going to be setting up for the next point, not fishing around the back for picks. So just scoping in and just making sure that we get the shot on that doesn't feel too bad. Make sure that McCree can get back in the fight nice and quickly. And that good stuff. I'm fine with us positioning around here, just supporting our 2 tanks as they start ranging ahead. Where the bitrate starts to get slightly problematic. We see the enemy team has an Arita. Actually, oh, we got a clear image for a couple of seconds, so let's use this. I really like the fact that we put the grenade over here. Like, this is actually a really nice position for it. So, throw the grenade. Unfortunately, we don't actually get anything with it, but the enemy team's already retreated, so... But the idea of it's correct. Like, it will catch the Winston, it will catch someone else with an anti-heal. If you get it in the right time, feels good, man. Don't... this is one thing I noticed as well, is that we sometimes overheal. We put a single heal on him, that's all we need to do. Mercy's already healing him, and he's got enough that he's safe. We can turn back now, as quickly as we can, to go and heal the 2 tanks now. Mercy can look after the McCree. She's got this. She has no problem with this. We can be healing this Winston already and just keeping him alive. We could be picking this Reaper up a little bit quicker. We could be doing something else with our time, because we don't need Mercy and Ana healing the McCree. Once Mercy's got him, Mercy will top him off. We are the big, like, meaty target healer, and so we can be doing that. I like the fact that Nano Boost comes up and we check. Good grenade on the charge. Absolutely correct move. Hopefully our Reinhardt puts the barrier up. No, he's just going to let everyone die. Feels bad, man. Not a good nano. And we'll talk about why in a second, as we'll break down this entire fight. Ah, no. No. Get out. Run. You can't win this. This is not a good fight to take. No. Okay. What went wrong? What went wrong with this fight? It was mostly the Reinhardt. Is what I blame this on. We did the right thing. Like, they charge in. So we're looking okay here. We're looking okay here. Then their charge goes through. Correct reaction. Put the anti-heal on this Reinhardt. He's got Discord Orb on him as well. He's... Actually, no. Discord Orb is on our Reinhardt, I imagine. Because we don't have a Zenyatta. Last I checked. And they do. But we get the heal grenade on, and we actually managed to get heal grenade on pretty much everybody. Earthshatter comes out quickly, but he gets dealt with. When this Reinhardt stands up, the first thing this Reinhardt should do is just put his barrier up, and then just let us pick everyone else back up. Unfortunately, the Reinhardt doesn't do that, and then everyone just ends up dying because they're all on low hit points. By the time he does put his barrier up, the enemy team's already run into our team. Soldier 76 has run forward, activated sights, and all that kind of stuff. The reason why the nano boost was bad was because what's this Reinhardt going to do? Like, what's he going to do here? Absolutely nothing. The fight was already over when this happened. When the Lucio picked up a double kill. Fight is done. Fight is over now. There's no chance for coming back into it. Enemy team is pushing in. Everyone is low. We can't get into a position to heal them. Soldier 76 is running forward, killing absolutely everyone. There's no saving this. Like, even if you nanoed a Genji, it's very unlikely that the Genji will do anything. It's very unlikely a Reaper will do anything. Going back for the sleep dart there is just extremely greedy. I think you even hit someone. I think you might hit the... I don't know what you hit. But it makes no difference. There's 5 people out there. One of them being asleep doesn't change the fact that now there's 4 people out there. And then, we're fighting a Soldier 76 in a heal field. Not a fight that we'll win, so we just got to get out of here. Silly res by the Mercy, and I'll talk about why. So Mercy's brought us back. And we've respawned here. Let me have a look at the kill timer. We'll be dead for... I don't think we quite see it, unfortunately, but I think we'd be dead for about, what, 7 more seconds? So she saved us 7 seconds so that we can run out this way, when we could have just waited and then come out, and Reaper kills 2 people anyway because he death blossoms 3 people because he follows up on it. Like, our spawn is right here. We don't need to pick us up any quicker than we would have just been picked up anyway. If you're playing Mercy at low level, res away from your spawns. And it's like a good rule of general thumb, like Overwatch fundamentals. Let's focus on some fundamentals. If you are very near your spawn, you generally want to avoid using too many ultimates, unless you're really being spawn camped, because what happens is this, okay? Let's say there's 6 people stood out here, okay? 6 people on the enemy team. And we have 6 people over here on our team. And we're fighting back and forth. Okay? And let's say that we're in the process of fighting, we get a kill on each other. Okay? Well, now we're down to 5 people over here, and we're down to 5 people over here. 10 seconds from now, these people are still going to be on 5. We are going to be back on 6. Why? Because our respawn is nearer. And this, I'm sure to chat, might sound incredibly obvious, but it's worth just, making sure that this is really clear and really understood. We are back to 6, because we're very near our spawn. The 6th person who's died has respawned, and will be able to come back within about 15 seconds. These guys, still on 5. And even if they get another kill, and we get a kill on them, they drop down to 4. I'm very slow at changing the colors, clearly. And we're on 5. But then the respawns start coming in. And the longer this fight goes, the faster and more people start coming back in. Meanwhile, every single time they die, they have to wait 30 seconds for them to come back. So any kill that we got on them is infinitely more valuable. So we're fine to just trade back and forth. And usually that means that we're using equal resources to do that. We don't use, you don't want to use an ultimate to trade. You usually use an ultimate to get an advantage. But because you're fighting so close to the spawn here, we don't have to do that. And the Reaper just comes out and basically ends the fight instantly by... Basically, you had the situation as it was before, where we had the 6 versus 6. Reaper comes out, uses an ultimate, and then it's 6... Well, it's 5 versus 6. And Reaper just instantly sort of ends the fight by coming out, gets your team the advantage, and brings it down to 4, and then follows up on the back of it. And we could have just waited. Mercy could have just waited on the res if she was picking up more than just you, but I really doubt she was, where she didn't need to use it. And so this is just like a very fundamental core principle that the closer you are to spawn, the less inclined and the less necessary using ults should feel. If the enemy... and basically this is why, like, when you just take the point here, if you just throw an ultimate at it, after the point is already flipped, it's considered a huge waste because you aren't buying your team any time, you're not really buying them much space, you're not really doing much proactively. Very basic, but very key to understand, and something that I think, especially at sort of the bronze silver level, might go a little bit missed, I guess. A little bit overlooked as just like a good rule of thumb. Of course, if you're getting like really heavily spawn camped, then using ultimates to break it and break out of it isn't a bad idea. And now the enemy team is like panicking because they're not restabilizing. Like, the soldier has basically staggered his own death. What we mean by staggering is pretty simple. Most of their team is already dead. So most of their team is now in a group over here. Okay, because the Reaper killed like 3 people pretty much all at the same time, and then 1 or 2 others died pretty quickly afterwards. So there's 5 people all the way, like way in the distance, way in the distance at their spawn. Meanwhile, there's a Soldier 76 like over here, 1. Meanwhile, all 6 of us are relatively close together on our team. So they are already a man down. They're at a disadvantage over here, and there's 1 person over here. And we want to be advancing forward, and then suddenly we spot the Soldier 76 out here. Well, now, we spot the Reinhardt out here. Okay, so he's died very slowly. So actually there's 4 people in the distance. And then we get the Soldier 76 as well. So now there's like a 4, 1, and a 1. And so to regroup, those 4 people can't actually do anything because there'll be 4 people going up against our 6 people. And they can't actually do that. And so you get stuff like this happening. This is more of a lower level thing. It's just like the Zenyatta feels weak because he's in a weak position and he wants to do something about stopping the payload. They want to do something about stopping this advance. They see the payload rolling forward, they see people dying, Zenyatta wants to go and save them, so he rushes out with Transcendence and gets nothing. And then Lucio follows in trying to save him. And it's just this sort of constant series of errors, of just like unnecessary deaths being thrown into the enemy team. And this is purely happening because these people have staggered their deaths. And this is why you'll see pro players, for example, throw themselves off the map. They'll literally actively die to get back to their team faster, because they don't want to be in these situations where the team is getting further and further split apart because you're splitting the deaths. And so this Reinhardt should have just died a lot earlier and should have maybe tried to get an exit kill on his way out. It's just what he's trying now. And then the Soldier 76 should not even have engaged here. Like, the Soldier 76 just appears from, like, a flank and tries to gun someone down, and it's just like, it's 6 versus 1. What's he gonna do? Well, he's gonna sprint away, barely, maybe. Meanwhile, Zenyatta panics and fires off an ultimate. Complete waste. And what will happen right now in a lot of teams, especially at low levels, is people will start getting frustrated and say, guys, we're never grouped up. We never group up. Group up, just group up. And you'll have 1 or 2 people sending the spawn, and then 2 or 3 people trying to push forward, trying to make something happen, and the team just splits itself apart, and the chaos sort of grows. And your team is just staying as a 6. And it's a weird thing to say, but in a very basic sense, this is the most effective way to play Overwatch. And now Soldier 76 has just wasted an ultimate. Why has he wasted an ultimate? Similar principles that we talked about before, right? Soldier 76 fired off a nanovisor. If Soldier 76 manages to kill us, what happens? We die, and then we respawn 10 seconds later about 20 feet that way. Like 20 feet literally right behind where we are, where we're looking right now. And we run out of spawn and we're feeling fine. Payload can't even move for about 5 seconds. The payload's not going anywhere, so it's not buying anything really there. Even if they kill all 6 of us, we just all respawn a little bit back, and then we just run out of spawn, and they've bought 10 seconds, maybe, for an ultimate? 10, 15 seconds? That's not good. Meanwhile, if we were around this corner, then basically the payload's in an area that's easier for them to defend because it's closer to their spawn, so they will have spawn advantage. It's easier for them in terms of terrain because they have better terrain just in terms of dealing with the directions we can come through. And it's just better, like, it's better for them in terms of like how they can fight and what they can do. And also we might have been trying to make a play. Right now we're finished making plays. We've got our objective, our spawn's near, we're safe, we're good. And so this Soldier 76, like, we make the right choice. We just throw a grenade down, keep ourselves alive a little bit, find some cover, don't engage it, and just let them use it. And this is why you'll hear teams at high levels go, oh man, yeah, they just wasted that. Because even if we die to that, even if deaths happen, and even at this point, we don't care about this. This is good. They've just used, I think, Sound Barrier? Yeah, they used Sound Barrier and they used Dragon Blade to stop the payload moving around the first corner. We've literally just respawned, and we can time it out. I'm actually I want to do this. Just my insanity. Here's my timers. This is why I used to cook dinner. Stopwatch. Okay? I'm going to just move it to one side. So I am going to hit... how do I do this as well as possible? Let me like bring this over here. Okay, wait until we die. I'll click the button. And any second now. And wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Dragon Blade, Sound Barrier. Comes out. We are dead. How long are we dead for? I'd say about 15 seconds before we get back to where we were. Maybe a little bit longer. Maybe a touch longer. The lag's on the VOD, by the way, not on the stream. So we're about hitting that 15 seconds mark. We all respawn together. 15. We're all still pretty much together. We're struggling a little bit. Okay, now we're about where we were in terms of like actually fighting. So about 22 seconds. Most of that time was just regrouping a little bit and waiting for the Reinhardt to get in front of us. And now we're already back where we were. How long does it take a Genji to build a Dragon Blade? It takes about a minute. especially if the Genji's efficient and good. This Genji might not be efficient and good because he's in bronze, so he could be more like 2 minutes. So they've used a resource that takes 2 minutes to get to stop us for 22 seconds. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Now we counter-push. They've overextended to try and hold this far. How long is it going to take them, because they're stood out here, to actually get back together and regroup? Especially now that they're splitting. And we're actually rezzing as well. So we're actually in a really nice position. So we're getting picked back up. They've used another visor, so Soldier's been doing a good job building up his ultimate. We can keep this fight going a little bit. And actually now, this should be a nice demonstration of concept, hopefully. We've lost a couple of people. I think we've lost 2 people. They've lost 2 people, especially after the reses. Our reinforcements coming in will come in so much faster than theirs. It's not that huge of a difference now because it's final point on Barney, so the distances aren't huge and might not be huge quite enough, but we're still actually fighting to a slight advantage here. Especially if you can kill this Soldier 76, you'll have a huge opening because he's really overextending. I'm fine with us taking the sleep dart there, but I'd be just very careful about poking out here in general. Especially I wouldn't do that. Crossing the street here is extremely dangerous. We're actually kind of safe here. Because, okay, this blurry mass, this blurry red splotch is a Soldier 76, so if he wants to kill us when we're behind that car, he has to run all the way out here into the middle of the road. That's actually very dangerous for him to do, hopefully. Our team can punish that somewhat. But by crossing the road, we're basically standing in front of their damage dealers, and we're a little bit lucky that we didn't take more damage there. Waiting for the Reinhardt to get in front of us would have been ideal. And going from there. Otherwise, we're fine just supporting this Winston a little bit. The Reaper wouldn't actually be a bad nano boost target if you just drop down on top of them. Seems like he's not doing it. We're swapping to a tankier comp. Feel good. Feel pretty good about that. I'd be keeping an eye. If I was you, I'd be keeping an eye on that Reaper and our own health as the Reinhardt drops his barrier randomly. Feels bad, man. We're extremely low. Don't like the nano on the Reinhardt here. But he gets huge amounts of value off it, off the Earth Shadow, which feels good. But he would have got that anyway. Why don't I like the nano on the Reinhardt? Just because if you put it on the Reaper, and Reaper drops down, Reaper would have got all those kills. Like, if you put it on the Winston, Winston could jump in and get all those kills regardless. The nano going on the Reinhardt just sort of incentivizes the Reinhardt to do bad things. He gets lucky in the Earth Shadow, and the charge now is kind of okay. The sleep dart's very wasteful here. Also, watch out for the trap. I think is there a, yeah, there's got to be a, I don't see the trap. Oh, there it is. I see it. The Junkrat has very sneakily left a trap. Actually, that's very cute. Or his buddy that's now a Soldier. Yeah, the Soldier would have been fine as well. But Reinhardt, like, Reinhardt used to be great for nano boost because it gave him a speed boost. Now it's not so great. I'd say the times when you nano boost Reinhardt is when, like, you've got to fight, like, when you are literally here contesting the payload right at the edge. So you're, you know, look at the top, right at the edge. And you're contesting the payload, and the enemy team has to sort of stand next to it. That's when Nano Ryan is very good. Or if you're like just in a small area, Nanoing Ryan is fine, because then he swings and he just kills everyone. The problem with Nano Ryan is that if the enemy team has a Lucio, for example, or just moderately intelligent, they will just run away from him. One disable, and they'll run, and he can't do anything. Whereas if it's on Soldier, he can shoot from a long distance, he can kill people like that. If it's on Reaper, then he can just run in with impunity, shooting away, no problem. That kind of thing is fine. Junkrat has been a wily fox. This is cute, but not necessarily effective, because his entire team's dead. Trap is here, bomb is here, we step in trap, Junkrat presses the button. He doesn't even need to press the button, we're low enough on health that we just step on the trap and die. Goes bad, man. That's actually pretty hilarious. I love that the kill cam is a dead Junkrat.
Welcome to Overwatch.
You notice we're already getting back. Hello, 4 glorious months. Thank you, Damasus. Beautiful. Beautiful, with a juicy 4 months. Glad to have you with us for that long. Let's get back to it. I like this. This is actually really nice. Let's, you know, just have it in pretty much every Coach of the Many Ana. L-shapes. L-shapes are really good for Ana. L-shapes are wonderful for Ana. So, what do we want? Well, I'm going to use the triangle. The triangle is us. Why is a triangle us? Because Ana starts with an A and it's a triangle. This is us. Okay? We feel pretty good. This is our team. Our team is a circle. We like circles. They're round. They don't have pointy corners. This is our team. Our team is busy fighting their team. Their team are squares. Our team can see their team. Their team can see our team. Their team cannot see us. We can see our team. Our team can see us. It's like a chemistry diagram, isn't it? Equilibrium. But we can provide healing to our team. We're in no danger. We can just sit here scoped in healing this guy all fucking day. And as a result, he will never, ever, ever die unless he gets burst. We feel pretty good about this. And we can slowly, if we really want, start pushing towards this. But to get to us as well, they have to go like all the way around the houses and find a path to get to us. It's very hard for them to do anything about an Ana doing this. L-shapes are very, very good when you just want to focus on healing. And like we could just still be scoping up, trying to put a heal onto this Pharah that suddenly appeared. And even now, like the things that have charged over here are melee ranged. Like a Winston's come in, I think a Reinhardt's come in over here as well, judging by the blurs. We can still scope up here because we're not really feeling that scared. We can scope up, put a heal or two onto the Pharah and feel pretty good about it. And then we can just start pushing in as we just win the fight because our healers are healing with impunity and we can do whatever we like. Feels good, man. Team's advancing. You notice we're all at 6. Feels good. Enemy team is now going to start just trickling out one by one. Winston's actually trying to create some pressure, and this is good by the Winston. I actually like this motion by us because we avoid a fundamental problem of Ana. If you look at what's happening now, we have the team block issue. So if I use pink for this because it'll show up, Ana is here, our team circles here, we have another circle over here. If we want to heal the circle over here, we can't do it. So how do we get around that problem? We move over here where we have cleaner line of sight. And we do that nicely. Like our positioning, honestly, isn't awful, and I like that. Dead Negator, welcome on board. Beautiful, thank you. Welcome to the many, my friend. Awesome to have you on board. I like the attempt of the grenade. Just a shame that it misses. This happens with Ana, just getting used to the grenade. Just trying to put it onto the Reinhardt where the Genji is as well. Right idea. Game about the execution. Happens to everyone. And in terms of like mechanics, we can definitely improve, right? And I think I'll talk about that sort of during the break between both halves. So yeah, let's talk a bit about sort of mechanics, shooting, actual like the physical act of playing Ana is what I mean by saying when I say like mechanics. So putting the crosshair on people, applying heals. It is very rare that you want to be doing anything other than just pumping healing into targets. If no one is in any threat of taking damage, then sure, don't just fire out your shots off willy-nilly. But once a fight has started, we should probably be healing pretty constantly. And just look for the targets that are likely to be taking damage. Winstons are very good for that. So if a Winston has jumped in, just keep putting healing on him. Even if he's not necessarily taking damage that moment, the enemy team will be turning and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and putting healing on him, putting damage on him. So putting healing on him just makes him that little bit safer. And it means it's harder for him to get burst down. It's harder for him to just get killed off. That's all pretty good for us. Otherwise, like, look for people that are just getting shot at. And if you have time to do it, scope up. So if you're not worried about being in any danger, and one of the common questions I get in coaching the many Ana is, when do you scope up, when do you not? Scope up whenever you feel moderately safe, and you have to get that healing out, because healing is just much more reliable.